I'm in the north of Sweden on the famous Kungsleden trail. The weather is horrible, the hike is really difficult, and I have no coffee with me.
What if I told you that when I do physical performance, I use a different drink, one that is also caffeinated, but on top of that it replenishes electrolytes, improves endurance, and accelerates muscle recovery on its own? What if I told you that this drink is 100% natural and you can prepare it at home? Well, I guess then you would ask what I am talking about. Meet my top one natural sports drink, yerba mate. In the coming few minutes, I'll tell you how it works, why it works, and how you can use it to improve your performance in endurance sports. Before anything, let's ask ourselves a question. Do we need a new component in our training habit or on our hike? Because you might be like, thank you, I'm alright with what I do, and I don't want to mess with a herbal tea on top of that. That is perfectly understandable because we are simply not used to expecting so much immediate effect from a herb, at least not from a legal one. Before I started yerba mate, I was also like, okay, it all sounds good, but it's just a tea, you know? But what I experienced short term and long term was definitely more than I ever imagined. Also, if you look around the media, you will see that many famous athletes rely on yerba mate to improve their performance, and if you check scientific research, you will see some insane living numbers for improvement of health and performance. I'll talk about all of these later in the video in more detail. The key here is to realize that yerba mate is really something worth considering for all sportsmen. So with that said, let's start getting to know the herb in question. The yerba mate plant is a tree found in South America. This leaf was used by indigenous people for thousands of years to prepare an infusion, simply called mate. Nowadays, you see it mostly in the hands of Argentinian and Uruguayan football players, and used by more and more celebrities worldwide. The main reason for its growing popularity is that mate contains caffeine, but is much healthier than coffee, so many people use it as a coffee alternative. I discovered it too as I was looking for a healthy stimulant back in the day, but when it came to my workouts, something strange happened. I began to notice that I felt less muscle soreness after resistance training, and when I trained on 2 subsequent days, I felt more energy and sheer muscle strength on the second day. I did a bit of research on that, and I realized that I had just found one of the biggest untold powers of yerba mate. And I'm not the only one who did. Sportsmen of all fields have started drinking it because the set of molecules boosting physical and mental performance packed into that leaf is insane. Now I'll tell you the 5 major ways in which mate improves long-term performance and some of the scientific findings supporting it. First, the selling point. Caffeine, but with a twist. With 6 billion people using it every day, being all around media and science, I thought that caffeine couldn't surprise me. But it did. In mate, caffeine just hits differently. Due to interactions with other molecules found in the leaf, its effect is much more gentle compared to coffee. It raises energy levels slowly, keeps them up for longer, and wears off slowly. It does not make you feel jitterish when you drink it, and doesn't cause a caffeine crash after a few hours. This alone, I think, places it above coffee and energy drinks when it comes to sustaining performance, but there is way more to come. Apart from being a stimulant, caffeine also supports the breakdown of fat. In mate, it also synergizes with so-called chlorogenic acid and a group of compounds called saponins that block the storage of fat in the meantime. Okay, but what does it do for you? It does 2 things. 1, it will free up a lot of fatty acids from your fat cells, which can be used as an energy source for your muscles. Normally your muscles will rely on sugars, but you cannot store a lot of sugars, so if that runs out, your muscles get exhausted quickly. But if your muscles rely on fatty acids, you get a way more sustainable source of energy and for much longer. The other thing it does, consequently, is causing fat loss. You literally burn fatty acids in your muscle cells and exhale the result as carbon dioxide. One study showed a 24% increase in fat burning during exercise, which is a huge number. I also made good use of this mechanism on my 120-kilometer trek in Sweden, where all I ate was dehydrated food and I didn't have time in the middle of the day to stop and prepare an energy-rich lunch. The next benefit of mate is often overlooked, but your life can depend on it around the peaks of your performance. The infusion made from yerba mate leaves contains electrolytes. It's basically the fancy name for salts that your body needs to function. When we sweat during performance, they leave our body, so we need to resupply them. Mate contains high amounts of potassium, which is essential for the nervous system. It has magnesium, which is involved in muscle function. If you run out of magnesium, that's when your muscles start cramping all the time, which can be really dangerous if you're swimming, for example. Also, mate has calcium that is involved both in muscle and bone health. It's important to note here that mate doesn't contain a lot of sodium and it has no sugars, so it will not replace your menacingly blue isotonic drinks by itself, but later in the video I'll share with you my all-natural mate-based isotonic drink recipe, which does. The next one is my favorite of all compound groups found in yerba mate. It's the set of different antioxidants. These chemicals neutralize harmful molecules that emerge when our bodily tissues are damaged. When we exercise, this damage happens in our muscles all the time, so antioxidants help fix that damage. One study found that participants had their muscles recovered 8.6% better if they consumed yerba mate 3 times in the day after resistance training, which is a huge number in exercise science. It is so much that both on hikes and resistance trainings you get noticeably less muscle soreness if you drink mate. This is also the reason behind its popularity among top football players who need to recover from training day by day and from games every week. Last but not least, there is a way in which mate improves all aspects of our health by influencing the single most important molecule in our body: water. Due to the many salts in it, you will be more thirsty after drinking mate, ensuring that you hit that 2 to 3 liters of water every day, which is the single most important thing to do for your health and your performance. This accelerated water metabolism, combined with the antioxidants, will improve digestive function, which causes better absorption of nutrients, which you use during exercise. So yeah, when it comes to benefits, mate is just unparalleled for the herbal tea and definitely feels too nice to be true, but it's true. Now the big question: how to physically prepare a drink from yerba mate leaves that matches your needs? Because spoiler, you can prepare it in many ways. Traditional preparation methods are so ingenious that it's already fun to just learn about them, let alone using them. I also brought to you a dedicated mate preparation for each field of sports that require endurance. First, the easy way: tea bags. Quick and simple, just what a tracker needs. If you take tea bags on your tip, yerba mate is the best choice I can think of. Simply, no other tea has that much benefits to offer. Taste-wise, I never found preloaded tea bag mate quite impressive though. It tastes much like any other herbal tea. Also, you get a very little amount of the beneficial compounds compared to other preparation methods of yerba mate. So I would say we should keep looking for better options. The majority of yerba mate is manufactured as loose leaf. The taste of that is a more complex topic. The vast majority of times it is described as bitter, earthy and smoky. But that's only for people who drink it for the first time. Mate is called an acquired taste, like coffee, which means that if you're exposed to it multiple times, you will perceive it tasting different. Like for me, mate tastes sweet, even when it's totally unflavored, containing nothing but the leaf. If you want to avoid that bitter and sometimes unpleasant feeling of preparing your first mates, check out the video here in the top right corner or at the end screen. But for now, let's look at the different preparation methods with the eyes of the sportsman. Firstly, you can put loose leaf mate in empty tea bags at home or dedicated tea filters on the go. It'll be way more delicious and cheaper than pre-packed tea bag mate, and you can also vary the amount of herb you use for one infusion. You can make a potent yerba mate shot to kickstart you in the morning or quickly fix a sore muscle, making it a powerful choice for trackers. Just make sure that the water you're using for the infusion is never boiling, but about 80 degrees Celsius. An overpowered tactic for multi-day tracks is dropping a filter full of yerba mate in your flask overnight, and by the morning you will have a perfect cold brew. Hikers can also prepare a large amount of mate at home. Just drop the loose leaf in some kind of a filter and keep it in 70 to 80 degrees Celsius water until the liquid turns opaque with roughly the color of green tea. You can take that on the hike in a thermos. Hot or cold, both taste very good. You can add sugar or other herbs to it if you feel like it's too bitter for you. Now that we have our foundations in brewing mate, let's talk about your mate-based isotonic drink and the two big choices you have to make about it. Firstly, if you cold brew mate, you get yourself a tastier base because the real bitter compounds are extracted by the hot water. But the heat is what brings you the potent antioxidants and basically more of everything that benefits you. Here I would go for the hot base because of the benefits, and it's also way faster to prepare. The other question is sugar. An isotonic drink would contain more than 40 grams of sugar per liter. If you mix that with the mate, you get a fully functional isotonic drink with bonus caffeine, endurance and antioxidant properties. But remember, one of the main points of mate is that it makes you switch to fat as fuel for muscles. So if you leave out the sugar, while it's technically no longer isotonic, you still get improved endurance, maybe one that's more natural and sustainable. It all depends on the intensity of your performance. If you're running a marathon, you should absolutely use the isotonic version. Whereas for lighter training, you can experiment with how you do on the fat burning mechanism caused by yerba mate. And of course, while other electrolytes are supplied by the mate, always put a pinch of table salt per liter in your isotonic drink, no matter if you prepare it with sugar or not. Using the loose leaf, you can prepare mate the traditional way, which just breaks the game of sports drinks, obliterating competitors by the sheer dosage in which it delivers good compounds. To prepare it, you need one special accessory, a metal straw that ends in a filter. A brilliant invention of the indigenous mate drinkers that is called a bombilla in Spanish. You will have this straw in your cup and a huge amount of the loose leaf, like up to 50 grams, piled up on one side. When it comes to drinking, you fill in a bit of hot water, and here's when it gets crazy. You can drink it immediately. No steeping time needed. You just fill in the water and sip it out through the bombilla. And if that wasn't enough, you can refill it multiple times, like 15 times. And each time sip out the water you filled in, wetting your pile of the leaves little by little. So it's basically an infinite source of those compounds that you can access instantaneously when you need them. Like if you train for long running, you finish a run, you have half an hour of rest, you have this mate, refill it 3 times, and you already have as much antioxidants as if you had 2 cups of green tea. But if you have just 5 minutes, you may do only 1 refill. You can always decide your dose. You just need to prepare this mate in the morning, put your hot water in a thermos bottle, and carry it around with you. If you put a pinch of salt into your water, you cover your needs for sodium, making it like the sugar-free isotonic version, but better. The traditional mate is a clear winner for all endurance sports where you have a fixed base. Tennis players, swimmers, football players, track and field, traditional mate is the shit. Hikers can be a little sad here since the transport of this traditional mate is not really feasible in a backpack. The way to use it during a trip is in times of rest, where you quickly prepare this traditional mate to give a heartwarming, energizing drink to you and your companions. The traditional method also produces by far the best taste of all. But before we hikers gave up our mate fantasies, let me show you how it's done the right way on the way. We have a whole dedicated video on transporting a mate. See it in the top right corner or at the end screen. Option B for hikers is a type of flask called yerbamate, specifically designed for drinking mate on the go. It has a compartment for water and another for the loose leaf. And when you suck the straw on it, you pour the water through the leaves compartment where they steep quickly, making it perfectly infused by the time they arrive into your mouth. While this works well in theory, I'd note here that the taste you get this way is far worse than that of the traditional mate and less controlled than what you get if you use the tea filter version. Also, cheaper yerbamates can be leaky or maybe hold heat poorly, so if you feel like that's your way of drinking mate, you should invest into a better model. So now, let's announce the results. In the category of multi-day track, there's an equality between using a tea filter and the overnight cold brew. For one-day hikes and cycling, the winner is the isotonic mate. For all sports where you have a fixed place, traditional mate takes the first place easily. So, I think you got to know your potential future sports drink pretty well. But apart from performance, the world of yerba mate is very broad. The combination of tradition, the ritual of preparation, trying different brands to see which one you prefer. My life got a whole new flavor, quite literally, when I joined it. If you are interested, look around on our channel. I'll be happy to be the person to introduce you to the world of yerba mate. And also, if you have a question now, feel free to write it in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you in a different Mateverse.